It's been close to 5 years since the last Deus Ex game came out. A lot has changed since then. Technologies have been updated, most popular engines have made the shift to support realistic lighting properties, or in more technical words, physical-based renderers, new consoles are on the horizon, and the PC platform is growing stronger by the day. Mankind Divided finds itself in an interesting proposition. It might not be the best looking game this generation, but it implements enough modern technology that puts it right there among the best in recent years. The heart of any game is its engine, and in the case of Mankind Divided, it's the Dawn engine that is pulling off all the strings behind the scenes. Based on IO Interactive's Glacier Engine 2, the Dawn engine was first announced during the latter half of 2014 and was said to support all Deus Ex games of the future. The main goals behind the engine was to further delve into its rendering capabilities, physics methodologies, and at the same time, improve existing and introduce new technologies such as enhanced depth of field, screen space reflections, post-processing effects, color correction, parallax occlusion, global illumination, volumetric lighting, and most importantly, support for DirectX 12 and TresFX 3.0 and huge areas to explore. Suffice to say that Eidos Montreal's plans were rather ambitious, and within the current climate of highly challenging industry scenarios, it's literally a miracle that their tech demo almost matches with what they've achieved in-game with Mankind Divided, at least on the PC build anyway. However, the implementation of lighting could be weird at times. For example, when you land in Prague, you are treated to a mostly dull lighting scenario. It just doesn't look right for some reason. Maybe it's the color scheme of this area which results into the said effect, but when you compare it to some of the indoor areas or the later sections of Prague, there is a massive difference. In fact, the engine shows its muscle during the later stages of the game, and it's here we see almost all of the technologies that were discussed earlier. Despite overwhelming positives with how the game handles its rendering technology, we can't help but feel disappointed with the character animations. Whether it be Adam Jensen himself or the NPCs, the animations feel awkward, out of place, not to mention that lip syncing is totally off at times. It's perhaps this aspect that hurts the game most and distances itself from your so-called next-gen title. We would have been a bit forgiving if these issues were only limited to NPCs, but given that the game's lead also suffers from such issues, it is quite disappointing. Deus Ex Mankind Divided is in many ways a true representative of each platform's technical prowess. Provided you have the hardware, the PC version easily trumps both the PS4 and Xbox One. But before we jump into analyzing PC performance to see how it manages to be a step above the console versions, let's take a look at the graphical settings. The PC version comes loaded with a plethora of options, including exclusive full screen, tessellation, chromatic aberration, sharpening filters, subsurface scattering, MSAA up to 8 times, temporal AA, and more. We guess it goes without saying that this isn't your usual console port, and Eidos have gone to great lengths to justify that. However, note that you would need quite a hefty PC build to max out everything. Please note that at minimum specs, which is an HD 7872GB or GTX 662GB, paired with the Core i3-2100, the game targets 30 FPS at 720p resolution at the low quality preset. At recommended specs, which is a RX 484GB or GTX 974GB, paired with an i7-3770K, the game promises to offer 60 FPS average at 1080p, but at the high quality preset. But these are all developer estimations, so the big question is, what is required to run the game at a high resolution of 60 FPS with all settings maxed out? Let's find out. Our testbed includes an Intel i7-5960X, so as to remove any possibility of CPU bottlenecking along with 16GB of DDR3 memory. We tested the game on a variety of GPUs, and you can find the average frame rates of 1080p, 1440p, and 4K resolution on the screen before you. To conclude, you would at least need an 8GB GPU card to max out most parameters to run the game at 1080p and 60 FPS on PC. However, if you're on a budget and are using a 4GB card, you could try switching off MSAA and switch on the less taxing temporal AA option, disable contact shadows, level of detail, volumetric lighting, and texture quality to high, shadow quality to low, and that results in a reasonable 1080p 60 FPS experience. Switching our focus to the console versions, and we have the usual gap between the PS4 and Xbox One. The PS4 takes the lead here with a full native 1080p resolution, whereas the Xbox One version runs at 900p. However, do note that the game utilizes temporal AA, which means that the visible difference won't be as big as it used to be before. Of course, this results into a softer look on the Xbox One version, but we will take that over a sharper, more jagged image quality. Both versions employ a 30 FPS cap, and for the most part, the game runs at that standard. Unfortunately, screen tearing is an issue at times, however it only seems to kick in during the non-interactive parts of the game. Other than that, we were largely looking at a locked 30 FPS experience during the playable sections of the game. When compared to the PC version, there's a clear difference in terms of texture quality, the hair rendering tech, the implementation of subsurface scattering, better anisotropic filtering, and generally high quality shadows. We guess it goes without saying that the PC version at Ultra is head and shoulders above the console versions. Overall, the console versions seem to be running at the highest equivalent setting on the PC. Another point that we wanted to raise is the atrocious load times on consoles. Given that the game is borrowing similar technology from IO Interactive's Hitman engine, this is expected, at least on consoles, but given that this issue persists on PCs, it's something that's both surprising and shocking. Another downfall is the engine's sound framework, which fails to create any impact whatsoever during shooting and grenade explosions. In all honesty, they sound quite flat. Deus Ex makes a solid 8th gen debut. It performs reasonably well on modern GPUs and for the most part runs smoothly on both the PS4 and Xbox One. Obviously, you'll receive a far better experience on the PC if you have the hardware, but the console versions are in no way poor performers. Hopefully, Eidos will put the Dawn engine to good use and not wait another 3 to 4 years to develop a new game in an altogether different generation.
And that wraps it up. What are your thoughts about this? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and share it on Twitter and Facebook. And why not consider subscribing? We upload some really cool videos almost every day. Thank you for watching this video and happy gaming!